Hi, everyone, and welcome to Spiritual Funbags. Tonight we have a very exciting episode for you. It's me and my special co-star.
Isabel, hi everyone.
Hey, everyone, and we have, Bernadette, hello. And we are talking tonight about power animals and how they can help you with your life purpose. So, to get this thing rolling, we have a special guest, and his name is Louis Otero. Louis, I'd like to throw it over to you. If you want to just say hi to our audience and maybe let them know a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi, everybody. So happy to be on Spiritual Funbags. I'm so excited. This is a great adventure for me. My name is Leo Otero. I'm a 1-2 advisor over at 1-2 Listen. And I have my own radio show. It's called The Healing Apprentice with me, Leo Otero, on 1-2 Radio on every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I am so excited to be here to talk about the power animals and power guides and how, innately we are connected to this level of energy. I think it's absolutely fantastic that you two beautiful young ladies are bringing this up to the forefront to talk about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louis. Well,
Yeah.
this is something I know it's exciting for me. I love, there's a lot of folks kind of that dabble in the life purposing stuff that work with angels and a few different kinds of spiritual modalities and energy work. But for me, I went to a workshop on, finding your power animal, and just, it really resonated with me, right? It just felt like something so safe and comforting, especially, there's a lot of folks that say they deal better with animals than with people, right? Because animals love us and have that sense of unconditional love. So for me, it's just like always something that's very safe and comfortable working with power animals, and I found it to help my life purpose. And I think it's very like a unique tool, and especially I feel like just like the younger folks can really get into using this, just like adding to their toolbox, right? So I'm very excited about this episode and totally excited to have you here as well. So this is going to be a lot of fun. How about you, Miss Isabel?
Yes, the
What's yeah,
same. Yeah,
yeah.
this is really good. And I love, when we were deciding, that you brought up this beautiful theme, for the month of March, we're going to have a Go Wild, theme for this month. And what a great way to look at different ways to access and help you guys, with your life purpose. And so one of the tools that Bernadette and I wanted to share with you are the power animals. So what are power animals? They are actually spirit guides in an animal form. So you can use the animal kingdom, and we'll show you guys today like how to connect with them and what that means and how we've experienced it. We're also going to be taking questions if you want to call us. If you want to know which animal spirit guide is with you, we'll be happy to help you with that. And the phone number for that is 857-232-0159, extension 610952. We posted this as well under our private group, which you can just ask to join and we'll accept you right away. It's on Facebook at Spiritual Fun Group. So it's SF Fun Group. And then you can find that private group in there. And we'll be happy to assist you if you'd rather ask the questions, through Facebook. So we'll keep an eye on the chat room as well.
Yeah, and if you are a member of that group, you can also send us a private message, right? So Bernadette,
Yes.
myself, and Isabel, right? We're both in that group. Louis in that group too. So if you didn't want to post something like publicly on the wall and share it with everybody, that's cool too. We can always just find creative ways to refer to you if you want to just send us a private message as well. So
Absolutely.
if there's like a situation that's going on and you're wondering if there's a power animal that can help with that, just let us know. So,
Yeah.
and I also posted in the fun group the Power Animal Oracle cards and link to that, just because Isabel and I are, we use them for what we're doing here. So in case you were wondering what those look like, there's a link in the fun group to that as well.
Yes.
So like Isabel mentioned, for March, we do have a Go Wild theme. Sometimes we have in our life purpose, you can get kind of like heady or, stuck in your head, but there's this huge aspect to really just living free with your life purpose, right? Like when you see somebody that's just living their dream, like all I can think of is somebody like Amy Poehler, right? Like as a comedian and just this brilliant genius that's up there. She's always having fun. She works hard. I'm sure she works her tail off on a regular basis, but, when she's performing, she's super happy about it. So you don't see somebody like that, worrying and questioning about their life purpose. They're just diving into it for the joy of it, right? Like it's just this totally wild and free kind of a spirit. So for March, I kind of wanted to help people embody that, right? So maybe if you've taken some time off from your life purpose and you wanted to remember, or if you're sort of new and getting into it, then you can just know that it's safe, right? It doesn't always have to be rated G, right? You can you can go a little wild with it and have some crazy fun. So with that being said, so Louis, you started mentioning some of the details on power animals, and I know there's a few different flavors, right? People might refer to them differently as like spirit animals and totem animals. So as always on Spiritual Fun Bags, we say like take what resonates with you, right? So there's tons of different belief systems on power animals themselves, and I'm sure you can find any number of experts. So we're just going to cover like how we work and what really works for us, and then again take what resonates with you. So, but that being said, yeah. Go ahead.
Humans and animals have been together on this planet forever before man decided to take over and be the boss of the world. And we don't realize how animals are so part of this, this culture that we live in. And for us to sit here and say that we're above creatures is really daunting to me, because animals in general are the flow that creates the circle of life in our planet. From how they eat and how they go through life in the circle of life is very important, and that's why there's such an ornate connection. The American Indians, or I should say the indigenous tribal Indians. I don't want to sector out anybody from other islands or other parts of the world. They are so ornately close to the animals that they basically followed what animals did on the planet, and humankind, back from the caveman days, have always had paintings on the caveman walls of animals since the beginning of creation. Okay, so there is an ornate connection to animals and us human beings. So the importance of the spiritual aspect of the animal is so important that we do have a connection. And I'm going to share my spirit animal to you guys. We also have to realize that there is 4 categories of energy that the spirit guides of animals come to us. They come in air, fire, earth, and water. So, for me to tell people, like if somebody goes, well, I love dolphins. Are they part of the animal kingdom? Yeah, they are. Anything that has to do with animal that is living, and you have a connection to them, that can be your spirit guide. Now, like before the show started, we had a little talk, and we were talking about how fire is the element of imagination and the unknown, and what animal actually fit in fire. What animals do we know that live in fire? Well, they're the mystical animals. The unicorns, Pegasus,
dragons.
I forgot the other one I was talking about.
We like
the dragons. Absolutely, thank you. Like the dragons. So so if you have a connection with dragons and unicorns, it's okay. Those can be spirit guides. They can be the spirit animals that are coming to you in your dreams and stuff. Because it's all about earth magic. It's all about the earth connection, the connection with the spirit of the planet Earth, and what Mother Earth has to offer us. In the forest, in the desert, and how animals. It's funny. Animals don't need a house. They can fight the elements. They live through the freezing 0 sub-degree weather. You ever wonder where the birds are and where all the animals are outside?
I wonder about that. To shovel the snow we've been getting. I really do. I wonder where the little birdies go.
Aw, I'm sure they hunker down somewhere.
Animals haven't. But here's the thing: animals have an instinct to protect themselves. They just innately know how to survive the harshest weather, the hottest temperatures to the coldest temperature. They know the planet. It's called basically the survival of the fittest. So, getting back on track to the spirit guides and spirit animals, yes, we do have a connection. So if we have a shamanistic, tribal urge to say, oh, I see hawks, or I see eagles, or I see wolves, I see giraffes or elephants, and you have this connection to them, 9 out of 10, those are going to be your power animals. And we have more than one. Like, we don't have just one power animal. That's why they're called totems. because the American Native Indians used to have totem poles, and on them they would have a bear, a wolf, and on the top you see a bird, like the eagle on the bird. So it's like, earth, body, and soul. Like that's how it transcended into totems. And that's how each tribe got to know each other's tribes by animal symbols. Like from the Celtics, they had their dragon ships. They had dragon ships from, they would go in the sea, and it was a showing of strength. And out in the Middle Ages, they had the unicorns, they had the lions, they had the I can't think of that, the one that's on Harry Potter. What is that? The bird, the griffin.
The griffin, right?
The griffin,
they have. So and the combination of two animals being together, half lion, half bird. It's just symbolism. They're just symbolisms, and they're just full of magic and full of wonder. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of strength in the animal kingdom, or totem animals or spirit guide animals have a lot of compassion. They show us things, and others, like what Bernadette was saying and Isabel was saying about there's more to connecting with by connecting with angels and spirit guides. We have our power animals to connect to as well.
Right. Louie, I love what you mentioned about, the humans and kind of that, they think they own everything. I always laugh when people talk about the food chain, right? And they say humans are the top of the food chain. I'm like, really? Because if I was hanging out with a lion, I'm pretty sure that I would not be on
You're
top.
on the bottom.
Yeah. And it's just like, we could just be more of, kind of a greedy, hungry species than we are the top of an actual food chain. So, one thing that I appreciate you mentioning too is just kind of that connection to nature and sort of honoring the sacred, right? Like when we talk about power animals, one thing that I think we have a beautiful platform to do is to just kind of remind people, like the more we go towards like a technological future, is that animals are here to share their planet with us, right? Like we don't, I'm thinking of the movie Noah that recently came out, where it's like, even if you put all the religious stuff aside, just where it shows that, honoring the animals and that they have a place in the whole web of life. I think sometimes humans just sort of forget about that, where we've been seeing a lot of loss of wildlife here and there. And at some point, it can, it's like a fragile thing that can collapse. There's like a really divine sacredness to everything being connected together. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Like you talked about Noah, the whole principle behind the Noah story, and I'm not going to religious, is the importance of how sacred animals are.
Yes.
To humankind.
Yep.
We need
Absolutely.
them.
Absolutely.
They provide us, regardless what the scientist says and what doctrine said in Bible, whatever. We could be vegan or we could be vegetarians, whatever. But my point is, that's a whole other subject. But my point is that the sacred animals that we need them. As much as they need, they obviously they need us too, because we care for animals. We have them as pets, whether they're horses, dogs, cats, birds, fishes. We bring these pets and we domesticated them. We took them out of the wild and brought them into the huts, in our houses, in our homes. So there's this ornate connection to animals. Absolutely, Berna, I agree with you.
Great.
When it comes to that.
And I think that the animals too, I think they help us, they bring us right back to our heart center, right? They're so connected, to the earth, that they bring us right back to like that heart energy and just like really like feeling centered and grounded. Like I know that's one of the things that I do, like if I either I've been working a lot or I don't feel like myself or I feel like ungrounded, like you can call on your power animal and just ask them, to help you just like come back and just like be present and be here.
Yep. Get the floor on the floor.
And the animals have it. Animals have an ornate instinct, we always talk about like how we connect to spirit with our, the four chakras, or we call it not the four chakras. I'm sorry, the four clairs. Clairsentience and clairsential and all that, audience and clairvoyancy and all that. But our animals have that. They have that intact. It's built in. They just know. They know when an earthquake is right before an earthquake comes, we're the last ones to know. They're the first ones to fly out of the endangered area. If there's a hurricane coming, you will not hear a bird up in the sky. They're gone. They're ready. They know impending doom and dangers.
That's a great point.
That's the amazement.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like I'm just thinking. Sorry, as you're talking, like it's funny, like it's true, like power animals, for you guys listening, like it can really connect you to your instinct, right? And help you trust, your intuition and whatever is going on with you, even with your life purpose or everything going on in your life. Like
Yep.
Absolutely. I
trusting your
agree.
instinct. Yeah.
That's good. So Louis, did you want to talk about, when we talk about angels, we mentioned that people, they come in when they incarnate, they have a couple of guardian angels with them. I'm not sure if, for me, what I've kind of understood is that people have at least one power animal, or if not two, right, spirit animal that is with them for their whole life, right?
Mm.
And
Yes.
then other,
Mhm.
and then there's
Go
other
ahead.
animals
Go
that
ahead.
kind of come in and out. So,
Throughout our lives, I'm gonna tell you, let me share you my story of my power animals and the journey that I went on all my life. I've always been surrounded by dogs. Okay, and I'm not saying dogs can or cats cannot be power animals. Absolutely, they are power animals and power guides. But for me, there was more. Ever since I was a kid, I was always connected to the wolf energy. I don't know what it was. You know what I'm saying? That's another story. I'll talk about that later. But what I'm trying to say is that energy of connecting with the wolf. I didn't know what it is, the story of the wolf, or why I'm so attracted to the wolf. I remember when I was younger, I just had this connection. And then I realized I was connected to a certain type of a bird, and it was a raven. I don't know why I liked this bird, and then I looked into the bird, and it was always around. Then I was always connected to dolphins. And why do I like dolphins? Why do I love them so much? And I have this really great connection to Pegasus. And why do I have this connection to unicorns and Pegasus all the
mm-hmm.
time? When I was at a class and a shamanistic woman was teaching me that we have four categories of power animals that connect with us. One resonates more than the other. Now, in the air segment of our animal guide, we have the air sector, which is our bird. Okay, so right there, the raven is there. So raven is on the top of the totem pole. Okay, then comes the fire. The fire, which for me was Pegasus, because I really love that. Because when I was a kid, I always had Pegasus pictures all over the place in my room when I was a kid. So what happens was that is my fire element. So I got the raven and Pegasus. Then underneath that, I have the dolphin. And the dolphin is connected to the water element. So there, I got the dolphin. And right, the foundation was the wolf. So I always had this connection with the wolf. So whenever I say raven wolf or wolf raven, that is comfort stuff for me. So that would be my power animal name. That would be my connection to that realm. And that's it. And some of us are different. Like, for instance, another person could be a tiger with an elephant, with an alligator, because the alligator can represent both land and water, but mostly water because that's when they're the strongest. So these are the things I'm talking about, with the connections of how we can be born into our power animals can be with us when we're born. There are guardians. I call them animal guardians. That's a
Mm-hmm.
good one. I like that. That's more shamanistic than anything. Like
Yeah.
we have a guardian protector, which is an animal energy that, or it's more like an animal energy, but also it's tribal at the same time. Because we could be, like I could have been at one time, or I don't know if you guys ever talked about past lives or anything. I could have been with the tribe that was considered a wolf pack or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were, raised with wolves, back in the day,
Yeah.
So I really believe in all that. I
That's
believe in
very
all
cool. I would agree
that.
with you. And so, I'll just share kind of quickly my experience where we did that Reclaiming Your Power Animal workshop. And it's funny, you mentioned the wolf. So that's like the one that kind of came to me when we were doing that. When we were doing we did a shamanic meditation, right? And so like I could see wolf coming
Mhm.
back, and it was a very cool, like touching thing. And then clairvoyantly for a while, I could see, this wolf spirit just around. And one thing that was awesome was that it sort of the way it was visualized kind of grew and changed as I was growing and changing. So I kind of this happened when I was like in my early 20s, and so I was, it was kind of like this teenage looking wolf, just sort of like getting his feet wet in life, and then it kind of shifted to this more, like a bigger, stronger wolf when I needed some more strength, and then after that, almost like a kind of a galactic dark blue velvety coat, that looked like shimmering stars. It was a really cool experience, and I talked to somebody else that has this similar belief system, and she was just saying like, yeah, so you're growing, and then that would be a reflection of you, and I thought that was a really cool way to think about it. So I don't know, in case anybody starts getting into these things, right? That might help. So
And do you feel like you can see, the power animals, like you could take them like as signs, let's say you're driving around and you notice certain animals or you're walking out in nature. Like, do you use that like as a sign?
sure, yeah, and so there's a few different, I guess, signs that I see, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so
Okay.
for me, and this I would say is personal to each person. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
like signs. I feel I love the way Isabel once said it, where the angels and spirit will use your files. It was like just
Yes.
the best way to put it. They'll use your files and what you understand. Um, so this one medicine woman that I knew, she had a story where she saw an eagle carrying a dead snake, and at first didn't understand like what the message was there for her, and then later kind of meditated on it, and there's this big transition period in her life, and I thought that was kind of cool, right? Talk about like a profound moment in nature. Where you're usually thinking about things, and I find these signs come up, it's usually when you're thinking about it, right? So I wouldn't write I that's why I never write it off as just coincidence, because it's always this magical moment where my one of my quick examples here is that I had this amazing dream a few weeks ago where I got to hang out with some celebrities and things that I look up to, and it was just it felt really important and really cool. And I'm driving along, and I'm just kind of laughing, like, "Wow, wouldn't it be really cool if that actually happened?" And as soon as I thought that, this little tiny bird just flew right in front of my car, like as a confirmation. So for me, like little birds flying in front of the car, that's either like confirmation of what I'm thinking about in a divine way, or sometimes it's, hey, slow down, there's cops ahead. That's
Yes.
that's very
Yes.
helpful to me. Yep.
Yes.
um and another one for me is when I see birds carrying food, like if there's food in their mouth, that's like a sign of either like abundance or confirmation of what you're thinking about at that time too. So it's like, this is like divine providence, right? Divine abundance is coming to you. So those are just some signs that really resonate with me. They click, right? That's the best way to
Yes.
word. Like they really click with me, and I really get it. Um, or you might have something unique, like an animal showing up in an odd place. A praying mantis is a great example too. Like what a beautiful little, they look like these little sacred insects and everything. And so, one sign that I got was I was sitting and writing an email to a teacher, an eighth grade teacher. I sat down, I was just, wanted to connect and just kind of say thank you. And as soon as I sat down to write it, a giant praying mantis like just showed up, right next to me. I was writing outside. This is when we had warmer weather, if anyone can remember what that's like. So yeah, it's just, these beautiful
Oh,
signs. And I always feel, just, you can always ask what it means too if you don't quite understand. Like if you always see like just something random, like a duck, right? Like this random
Yep.
duck showing up in your yard every day for a week, and you could really just ask, like, "Hey, duck, what's your message for me?" And it's,
Yes.
if you ask from the heart and in a very sacred way, I feel, just like really honoring and recognizing that, like, okay, like what's your message for me, and see what comes to mind and what comes to heart. It's a pretty cool thing. So go ahead, Louis.
I'm glad you said insects. Just
Yeah.
saying, I'm glad because insects are part of the animal kingdom.
Absolutely.
We might not consider it,
Mm.
because of course in science we're taught all different, but they're also part of the spirit animals.
Right.
Insects are transformational. They're very spiritual in their own, like a dragonfly, like you were saying, praying mantis. Ants is all about group gathering. That's
Mm-hmm.
they're good at it. So and the ant can carry 20 times its size. So it's all about strength as well.
Yep.
So if and don't be like if there's people like, oh well, I don't have a spirit animal. I'm like, I don't know, whatever, turtles, or I'm like I'm trying to think of a really ugly, like a beetle. Like I like
Mm.
beetles. Like it's okay. It's okay because they have meaning as well. They really
Absolutely.
do, and they can guide you. They can guide you, like you were saying. Like
Yeah.
the bird with the food in the mouth. It's like a message.
One thing that was kind of funny about the workshop that I had been to was that there was, we even talked about that this was, this is a sacred thing, and so it's not a party trick where people would just go around, like it's not a parlor trick where you go around and really talking about this, but we sort of shared within the group, and if was there anybody who got anything funny, and I kind of cracked a joke about somebody having a power animal as a squirrel, right? This didn't happen in the room, but I was like, oh, what if somebody had a power animal as like a squirrel, right? Because who, if you have people standing up there like, oh, wolf is my animal, or so is a bear, eagle, right? Like all these big, powerful animals, and then you have something like a squirrel, kind of silly. But even that animal is teaches us how to prepare for the winter, right? How to squirrel things away and how to just kind of keep moving and tuck some stuff away so that we are safe and protected and cared for, like when the time comes. So
Yeah,
yeah.
because they use their instinct and they're so in flow with nature that
Yeah.
it's true. If we take our cue, from Mother Nature, from the animals around us, like we will definitely like see, how that rhythm works and what do they do to prepare. And it's funny, for, people working on their life purpose, like we talked about insects, right? And you guys just brought up like ants or spiders. If you see them, it's actually a really good thing, right? Because so spiders, what are we say about like that's when you build a web, right? That's when you're building something or you're increasing, your power. Like it's just showing the different roads that you can take to create your life purpose. At the same time, if you see ants, what are they really good at? They're really good architects, right? They build things, right? They have a really good system going. They're very organized. So this can really show you, what is going on with you. And you can actually ask your para animal to give you signs to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you have any recommendations of maybe how somebody would word that?
To
ask. So
to
for
ask.
like if I wanted to ask, right, either if I wanted to ask for signs, like how would I do that?
Yeah, like am I on track, or like
Yeah.
if I wanted to ask. So one of the things I do, I literally it's just your intention, guys, that's important. To me, this is what's key. If you truly want to know something and you just ask, like you can ask out loud, am I on the right track? Like can I call on, like, let me call on my power animal so they can give me a sign to show me that I'm on track. And the way you do that, you can either think that in your head, literally. You can say it out loud. Let's say you're driving around, or you're by yourself in the house, or you're just somewhere where you feel you're comfortable saying it out loud. You can also write it, right? And you can also just think it, but you can also just write that in your journal or just write it on a piece of paper. So that energy, it's like it brings it together with your intent, and then just you write it, you say it, you think it, and just one of them will work, and then you can just release that, and then you will get the signs.
Yep.
And then all you have to do is pay attention, right? Because we're always answered. It's just we get so busy, with our life and everything, that sometimes, we don't pay attention. So, make sure that you can ask also your power animal to say, like, come to me, like, with a crystal clear meaning, like crystal clear, like, so I can't, mistake it. Like, I know what it is.
And maybe just add the word safely.
Only because
yes. We're working with animals, right? And if
point.
If your power animal is like a black widow spider, maybe like safely signs, like
gently.
Images, right? Not you don't
gently, naturally.
Right.
These are like good words. So yes.
If I saw a black widow spider, I'd be on top of my refrigerator.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
let's not sugarcoat that one right there.
Good news that they're not. I was saying that they're not deadly. So just for any of our listeners, I want to dispel the myth as, I lived in Arizona for a little bit. So like, unless a spider is deadly, I think it's okay. So I'm a friend to spiders. I like keeping them alive. I always get nervous when people like take them out inside of a house, like there are friends that eat the stuff that we don't like. So just throwing that out there, but go ahead. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
No? Did we lose them?
Bernadette, yeah, we did. Can we redial in? Yes.
Sure.
All we need to do is just redial into the conference.
All right. We'll get him back online.
Yes. And
guys, just
bear with us for just one quick second, and we'll just get Louis right back on the phone.
So, Isabel, actually, one other thing while I'm working that, if you wanted to, one thing I wanted to do too was kind of just offer a blessing for the people that have a life purpose of working with animals.
Yes, so absolutely.
Hello. Please enter your 6-digit conference.
You know what, Bernadette?
We'll wait.
We're actually good. Yeah, we are actually good. We are.
Welcome to free conference calling. If you are the host, please enter your 4-digit host code. If you are not the host, please press the...
Okay.
Here we go. I'm just going to ask for actually Louis to just call us back.
Okay.
On there. We're good. Okay, so sorry, what was your question?
Oh, I was just going to say, I'd love to do kind of just like a blessing for the people who have a life purpose of protecting animals, like all the people that do work, up at the different poles of the planet that try and protect, like protecting the wetlands, protecting the poles, protecting. So, and two, for anybody that's listening, if you are like, oh, this is a great episode, I love animals, I want to do something to protect them, there's so much that you can do in terms of that kind of work, right?
Yes.
So I was just wondering if you had any kind of like blessings or guidance or words of wisdom, right, for anybody who has that kind of a life purpose of helping animals, right?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick a card from the Power Animal deck, and we're going to see who is on, can absolutely connect with, and get the blessing. So let me see here. And you're still on, Bernadette?
I'm still here, yep.
Okay, so hang on. I think we might need to relog in, but let's just see. Let me just finish this up here. So, all right, angels, and let's just see for our power animals here, the blessings for everyone looking to do some work, with the animals. Let's see which animal it'll be best for you guys. There we go. And we have a few, so you guys just take your pick. So we have 3 power animals here that can actually help you do this work. So the first one is the dragonfly, and the dragonfly really talks about, the world of illusion. When we see a dragonfly, that shows your imagination is rampant. That means there's a lot of imagination going on. So the guys are saying right now, like, the world is your oyster. So when you want to work with animals, like, what is it that you really want to do? Let yourself dream. And the dragonfly has this ability to go and move beyond and between illusions. So they'll be able to really, really help you. The other power animal that can help you with this blessing to help you work with animals is the eagle. And the eagle says, trust in your higher self. The eagle has this amazing ability, to see from up high. It just sees from up high, and you have like a bird's eye view on like a whole scene. So anytime you want to work with them on even any situation in your life, like, the eagle really gives you like those piercing eyes into working in this area. And the last piece, the last animal that's here to give you this blessing is the kangaroo. And the kangaroo actually brings us gratitude. So it's really feeling into your heart this gratitude to really just help you connect with the animals. So, and they're talking about, be grateful for all you are blessed with. So it's almost like feeling that energy in your heart to be able to connect.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, well, you're welcome.
And I just wanted to add a couple of things to that, to the first 2 cards you pulled. So one for me, illusion, especially like with a life purpose of helping animals. That sometimes when you have a connection with animals and you see them, I'll use the word like maybe getting hurt or something, like there's an oil spill, right? And you see the animals covered, and it can be heartbreaking, like it just, it can be very hard. So I feel like illusion too is kind of just see beyond and know that usually when animals come in for a situation like that, there's like what they call the soul contract, right? They come in and there's a soul contract. So it's almost like they take up that space of going through something like that as in honor of us humans, right, having our wake-up call. So like if you see, one of those weird stories of like 15 dolphins all of a sudden show up on shore, and it's just very odd. Sometimes, you can trace back to the scientific reasoning for why they got there, but overall, when we go beyond that illusion of the 3D world, there's that big soul contract in place, right? Where it's asking us to kind of open our hearts and to have more care and responsibility in that realm. So I wanted to add that. I don't know if that sounds right.
Yes, that sounds absolutely right. No, I totally agree. Yeah. I totally agree. And I love like how, you guys can just connect with any of those animals and take the one, again, like Bernard, we say all the time, take what resonates with you.
Absolutely. And then I wanted to also expand a little bit on the eagle part of it, especially because this is, the eagle is considered the king of the sky, right? And he's like...
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
The eagle is like the biggest, baddest bird out there, and it's a very, very sacred just a spirit. Like all the bird power animals like are really cool, but eagle is like, he's like that top dog. So when you need something, for me, I'll call on eagle spirit if I need like a really high level, like a high spiritual boost for something that I'm doing. You know, like say I'm like working on a project and I really want this to have a really high vibration and just be very sacred. You know, before I actually kind of bring it out into the world. Always, like I'll just call on the eagle spirit and let it just lift everything up.
Yeah. Me, I use him too. I use the eagle spirit, you know, when I feel like too ingrained in a situation, like I don't see the way out or I'm too connected to it.
Cool.
I ask for the eagle to come in just to help me see from like either like a higher perspective and see maybe, you know, what you're missing because you're so in it, you know, it gives you a different perspective.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But I like that, the king of the sky, or the king of how you said that. That was cool.
Yeah. No, that's not that was somebody else. So but I'm just sharing it in terms of that power. So that's very cool. All right. Well, I too just would love to pull. I know, just pulling a card. So that was for our folks helping and protecting animals through their life purpose. But I also just kind of want to do sort of a blessing for all of our listeners here. So. Oh, cool. So the card that I pulled was the lizard card, and it's all about dream time. So a lot of the reptiles, as far as power animals, they work with the subconscious, right? Because, you know, if you've ever heard the term our lizard brain, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so in terms of evolution, the lizard part of our brain is like that deep-seated subconscious. So I'll talk about snakes in a minute as well. And please, no one get nervous. I know some people have a fear of snakes, but they're fine too. So anyway, but for lizard, it says pay attention to your dreams and visions. And so, you know, there's twofold. I'll get to practical advice in a minute, but in terms of a larger view, I think paying attention to your dreams here is absolutely all about, you know, what are your dreams? We use the phrase life purpose a lot, you know, or life purposing. We like that one too. But really, you know, I've even been feeling like maybe let's just remind people that like these are your dreams. Like, what is it you're dreaming of? Like, what do you hold in your heart? Like, what is that one thing you wanted to do ever since you were 6 years old? You know, it's like, what is that one thing that you really wanted to embody? Or maybe you're 22 and you know what your dream is right now, and this is just like kind of that little nod, like, yeah, keep going for it. You know, your dreams in terms of where you're growing your life and what it is that you're doing, those come from the heart, right? That comes from your higher self. That's already something that's within you and in your DNA. So, you know, if anything else, this is like just a don't give up on your dreams confirmation, just in whatever way you can. Sometimes it might not look exactly like you would expect it to, you know, and sometimes it's you're learning from different areas in life that might not seem exactly connected, but sometimes what's great about that is you get to do your learning where there isn't as much risk.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So like if you have say you just have a life purpose where you want to run your own wellness center or something like that, but you spend time, you know, just as an administrative assistant in an accounting firm. Well, there you go, right? There's like stuff you're going to learn and people you're going to meet. So it's not exactly what you want to do yet, but it's kind of like that learning that's all around you to support whatever it is you're doing.
Yes.
The other piece of this is, you know, paying attention to your vision. So kind of just being like mindful and like clearing the third eye. And also just wanted to mention during dream time, you know, so if you want, you can actually invite like that lizard power animal to be with you before your dreams, right? So before you go to bed tonight, just kind of take a moment. And, you know, for me, I kind of feel like, especially working with the power animals, and we talked about the web of life and circle of life when you're asking for signs, you know, to show that gratitude, like maybe you can volunteer at, you know, any kind of an animal charity or donate or, you know, to help take care of somebody's cat or just like feed some other animals that are around. Like we have birds that fly around our yard all the time, so I'll save, you know, we'll just save scraps of food that we have. You know, we have bread, right? There's always like chips that people don't get to, and so whenever I'm throwing those out there, it's just like that sign of gratitude, like thank you, nature, for bringing me all these wonderful blessings and taking care of me and providing for me. And, you know, we're not yet at the point in the future where we're just eating like chemical paste. We could be, but we don't, right? Like we love all the food. As much as that plasticky nacho cheese that is not from nature whatsoever is delicious, I get it.
Yes.
I get it, but also, you know, just think of like how nurturing that nature like truly is to us. So, just kind of giving that gratitude and thanks when you're asking for that Dreamtime help would be, they just could just be something really cool that would help where you're at right now. So
Agreed.
that's all. I wanted to share that.
Very nice.
So, did we get Louis back?
No, and we have a little bit of a technical difficulty here, so yeah, I don't think we'll be able to get him back on.
Sure. Okay. Well, it's you know, it's funny. Even before the show, like this wild show, we pulled a trust card, and when I asked about our technical difficulties, I got the Otter card, which is let go of control.
Oh, there you go.
Like surrender and let go of control. I'm like, well, there you go. Yeah, this is...
See, guys, we go with the flow, right?
Exactly.
We'll let it, you know, we'll let it be.
Yep.
And Louis was saying, you know, it's funny, like he was texting and he was just saying that this was, you know, it's the energy of all the power animals that are here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sometimes we just have such a... and, you know, just proof that nature has a sense of humor. So I was kind of shuffling the cards as we're talking, and I got the monkey card, which says the situation calls for adaptability and innovation.
There you go.
And I think, yeah, it certainly does. So that's, you know, for me, one of the other reasons why I love, you know, working with the power animals and stuff is just like that sense of humor is really there. You know, I had... when I was living in Arizona, I was house sitting for somebody, and I came home, and there was a huge brown recluse spider sitting on the door frame. And for anybody that doesn't know that term, like the brown recluse spider, when they bite, that's one spider that actually can be deadly, or and if not, there's you get what's called a necrotic flesh syndrome, and they can't really do too much about it. So it's just like it eats away at your skin. It's really terrible. So like of all the spiders in the world, like that's one on my list that I won't mess with. You know, like that's off. But so I had to figure out, I finally like sneak inside the house, you know, unharmed, thank goodness. And I get to the back door because I was letting the cat back inside, the glass sliding door. So I take this huge deep breath, and I'm completely just, you know, totally about to relax. I'm safe from danger. And then I look up, and I'm staring at the underbelly of the biggest black widow spider I've ever seen in my entire life.
My God.
So it was just like, oh no, you know, it's just like another moment of terror, but it was behind the glass. So like, it just made me laugh. I'm like, oh, all right. I thought I was going to die again. Nope. Totally safe. Everything's fine. I think sometimes life purposing can kind of be like that too. So yeah, I just wanted to share that silly moment. And I also did mention a few minutes ago in terms of the reptiles and their ability to heal. I kind of just mentioned, you know, we have some time here, so I kind of wanted to talk about some of the more, I'll call them the famous power animals, or something that people can really resonate with, and whatever helps people in their life purposing journey here. So one thing that we have here is the snake, right? And the snake is just known as like the most ancient healer that you could ever find if you look at DNA, right? So even if you look at that healing staff, the caduceus,
yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
So that's got like the two snakes that start at the bottom and they wrapped around, and then you have the wings coming out. And so that's representative of our DNA, right? Like the double helix DNA that's wrapping around and being connected to each other. So you'll see snakes in medicine going back, you know, just like beyond even ancient Egypt, right? So that just goes back to time immemorial. And again, there's that lizard brain. So if you feel like maybe you need some kind of deep healing in any fashion, snake is a wonderful animal to call on. So let's see what else.
Yeah, and they shed their skin. You know, it's all about transformation, right? They transmute, they change, they shift. So when you see that, that's also like a great symbol of transformation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, snakes are very cool for that as well. And it's, you know, I got the pleasure to actually like handle a couple of snakes at a few points in my life, and they're really, I'll tell you, they to me I was like, oh, this is just like a cat. Like this is they're
you've handled them?
Yeah.
Like you've held them and everything?
Yeah. So
okay.
I went to it was a goddess retreat with the intention of like connecting with snakes, you know, like for a healing purpose, and doing some like snake work, right? And you know, one of my friends had gone through it the year prior to me, and she said, yeah, I'm afraid of snakes, so I figured, hey, this is a great way to get over that, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's, you know,
yes.
So when she was telling me everything that happened, I'm like, oh, that's a cool thing that I just want to experience. So, you know, I went, and it was great. There were two two big boas, one that was like 6 feet long, and so, somebody asked, like, what if they bite? The boas and pythons, it'll hurt, but they use constriction, right, on their prey, so it'll hurt, but it's not like venom it's not like a python, right? So that kind of made me feel at ease. But yeah, so we were working with these giant boa constrictors and some corn snakes, and the boas they were cool. The pythons were cool. I like the boas so much, even too. I was kind of considering a snake after, but everyone said, no, you have cats. Like, you can't. There's no no scenario where you can have a snake and a cat in the same house. And I tried to think it would. I'm like, no, it'll be totally fine, guys. It's fine. And
maybe not.
Your friends are your friends for a reason, right? So they put the moratorium. They're like, no, we are not letting you get a snake. Like, that's it, because we're not getting that phone call. We're not getting that phone call. So, I got to handle those snakes, and to my surprise, like, they were to me, I just felt like this really sweet energy. And these are snakes that were specifically, worked with, right, to be healers, so that's like they have a purpose. And I've even seen some people with like healing studios, they have healing fish, and they would say, they know their job. Or another woman was a Reiki practitioner that I know, and she had a cat that would greet her guests like at the door. Like the cat just sat there, they waited for the client to come up, and they would, wrap around their feet and then walk them in every single time. And then the cat would walk them out when they left, like, I just think it's so cool when animals, like, they know, like, it's just like that straight up Pocahontas moment, right? Where you're like literally totally connecting with your animals. Even my, like, there was a time when I was sick, and my cat, she was sick at the same time. It was weird, but so she would, hop up on the bed and sort of try and help me out. Then I'd feel a little bit better. I'd go and, do some energy work for her. And we kept going, like, just supporting each other throughout the day. And she never jumps on the bed. That's just, like, not a thing she does, but she knew, So that was very cool. But yeah, so the snakes were, that was a really majestic experience. So I would say probably don't go handle snakes out in nature. Everybody, you know what? Like, just remember that. Like, probably don't go looking for a rattlesnake. That's not, that's like Bear Grylls type of stuff. That's not what I would do. But I would also say, if it's a little garden snake, like, it's probably not as, bothersome or scary. So I just like to stick up for my animal friends, That's I think they get a really bad rap, even unfortunately, I got to go to, well, there's an unfortunate story. This was fortunate, we're talking about wolves. There's beautiful wolf conservation centers all around the United States, by the way. So if you're into wolves, like, you can go and check these out where you're at. There was one in the state of New York that I went to, and these beautiful wolves that are they're called socialized, right? Like, so you can't really ever domesticate a wild animal like that. But they'll kind of sort of come near humans. And the story that was told was the reason wolves are afraid of humans in the United States is because when settlers came from England, in England, it's a tiny place, right, as far as the country as compared to the United States. So they kind of had to share their space with the wolves. They would start building into the woods, and then, right, there's like territory issues. And so people out in England they'd take the wolves out, right? Okay. Then when the settlers came over here, they kind of kept that mentality and assumed wolves were dangerous. So they just started reducing their numbers in quite a fashion. And so the wolves learned, once those people came over, okay, it's time to back away from humans. So it's actually a learned behavior that mothers pass to their cubs, where they'll, like, take little cubs near people, and then once a person is walking along the trail, they'll, like, teach the kids to run away.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so that's why, when I talk about wolves and how much I love them, people are like, oh, they're scary. I'm like, oh, no. They got a bad rap, man. Yes. You're much more likely to, get in a small fender bender. I mean, heaven forbid, but it's more likely that would ever happen than you'd get eaten by a wolf, like, come on. That's just that they really are more afraid of you. And, so I just want to bring up that, like, respect.
Agreed.
Creatures.
Yes.
Our little friends. So, so a couple of things here. I kind of wanted to I did pull also just one card reading for the general audience here that we have listening for your life purpose. And we got, just say, well, blessings from Giraffe, the power animal, with a foresight blessing, right? Giraffe has that long neck, so they can see far, far off in the distance. Black Panther with passion. And I will tell you, like, if you ever wanted to bring in a passionate energy to either your relationships or to your life purpose, whatever. Black Panther, the big beautiful black cat, right? Also known as sometimes people will call it a jaguar, depending. It's a great spirit. And the fox for adaptability. So, foxes they often say like crazy like a fox, right? Foxes they learn to adapt to their situations. So on your life purpose, foresight, passion, and adaptability, I'd say, I think, Isabel, you could totally agree. Yeah, that really summarizes.
I feel like you're really like talking to me right now.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm listening to your reading. I'm like, wow, this is exactly what I'm going through.
Yep, absolutely.
And I will use the panther, like the Black Panther, to keep up, even like infusing, passion into your projects. At least, when you're saying this, that's what it makes me think of.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's, what's cool about, so the big cat energy, like tigers, pumas, mountain lions, all that, a lot of them, of course, you can see that embodiment of strength, right?
Yes.
I have the tiger, of course, right, comes to mind. But with Black Panther, the thing that's different about it is it has it has like that hint of, like, I'll use the word like sensuality, like with you yourself coming alive and connecting into your own body and energy, and that creative energy too. It's almost like it's like a very like slinky animal as compared to the rest of them. So
yes.
Yeah, like a tiger's kind of like this big bulky, right? But the Black Panther is very like slinky, like a smooth jazz kind of a thing. So I don't know. I've always just appreciated that vibe. I thought that was just like a really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, really cool animal. So. And if you would like help finding your power animals, there's a few ways you can do that. So, for me, I was guided to that workshop, which was really cool and totally life-changing. There's definitely some books and cards out there. So I posted a few links, for the things that you can just grab off of Amazon on our fun group, and that's again facebook.com/groups/SF fun group. If you wanted to just send us a note and join and check that stuff out. Miss Isabel, is there anything?
Yeah, there's a powerful meditation. So in one of the book that we posted here from Stephen Farmer, Power Animals, it has a CD in the back of it. So if you want it as a guided meditation that helps you meet your power animal, but you can also ask for signs, or you can look up on iTunes too. I'm sure there's some stuff there, or even on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
to look that up. Absolutely.
Yep. I would say those are some great resources. I know. I think it's a little unfortunate there. Sometimes people talk about power animals, and some people see it like as a joke, like, oh yeah, this is,
oh no, this is real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's real. I think that's the best thing to say is, people crack jokes that you're gonna pick whatever. But yeah, it's totally real. Like I said, you can see it and feel it. And what I like about all of the resources that we shared and posted is that you'll be able to have the option, one, to kind of reclaim your specific power animal, like the guy that's there for you your whole life, right? And then also, now you see how we've talked on this whole show about the different animals that you can work with at different times, and so I just feel like they just want to say, like, don't forget we're here, right? They're also here to help, because when we're life purposing, we help out the whole planet, right? It's all about like creating a peaceful planet together. So I'm sure if we have peace for ourselves, our little animal friends will be happy and peaceful as well.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Yes.
Well, that was a fun show.
Yeah. It was fun and wild and full of excitement, as it should be. All right, so we'll share some wild blessings with all of our listeners, and if you would like to get in touch with us, we're here for you on Monday nights. Come join us in the fun group. If you'd like to get in touch with Isabel, Miss Isabel, can you tell them how to?
Yes, you guys can get in touch with me on crystallineheart.com, or I'm also on one2listen.com if you just wanted to connect at the spur of the moment. And then as far as Louis, he wishes you many blessings to all of you. Sorry, couldn't get back on the radio show. And you can find him on healingapprentice.com or also on One Two Listen.
Yes, and I have to give him a shout out on his 1-2 radio show, The Healing Apprentice, by the way. So that's that happens on Tuesday nights, and I highly recommend it because it's just a lot of fun. And you heard the guy; he's a cool dude. So if you just want something like relaxing on a Tuesday night to just kind of give you that boost, definitely check it out. That's all I gotta say. It's like, it's dope. Check it out, and we hope you check us out next week, right? And every other week. So
yes,
we'll be there for you.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you.